Hello and welcome to a pretty awesome earnings race. This is the Formula One Academy car. This is the car that you can get for free when you first start this game. In fact, you get paid to have this car because you get a bunch of rewards when you run that little series at the beginning of the game. This is in the F1 exhibition event, and I am fully upgraded. Now, I'm starting off going backwards, and I know this looks insane. Just you hold on though. Remember that when you normally start an endurance race, you get a whole bunch of bots that are going dreadfully slow, and you probably just pass all of them. We don't want to do that because you're wasting time. So watch what happens here when I get to the start-finish line. I just logged 0.3 kilometers, and I'm not wasting any time. This is called clock management technique. There's 3 phases to doing this. Phase 1, we want to stay on track, avoid contact, and don't overfill your timer. And we're going to get to that. So you're going to see here that I'm going to almost completely run out of time when I finally pass my first bot. And that is by design. I've used trial and error to figure this out. And I'm really pushing it my first 2 laps here. So I'm already running out of time. There's no bots in sight. They'll be at the hairpin corner here. They're going to substantially overbrake, and I have no trouble passing them. Now I got to be a little bit cautious with this corner. Normally I would take that full throttle. Got to be a little bit cautious. And Puan corner, you can take this full throttle if you get it just right, but the consequences are so heavy that I still prefer a tiny lift. And then there's very little braking. Like, this is a really fun car because it feels really balanced. It feels much more balanced than the 2020 and 2021 cars. It's not near as fast, don't get me wrong, but this car is really enjoyable to drive. It's very rewarding. And yeah, so this first lap, I'm going full out, going really aggressive because I wasted time by driving backwards and then driving forwards again. If you turn around and just drive the wrong direction, your distance will go negative. But if you reverse the car, your distance doesn't do anything. It stays at 0. Interesting trick, isn't it? So that's how we make use of the slow bots. So clock management technique, what's that all about? That is about really being careful not to overfill your timer. So if you're paying attention, I get 10 seconds every time I pass a bot, right? Right there, I just got 10 seconds. So let's say my timer's at 86 and I'm catching up to a bot. I'm going to wait 6 seconds before I pass them because 90 is the maximum you can have for a timer. If you pass a bot when you've got 86, you only got 4 seconds out of that 10-second bot. You gave up something you didn't need to give up. But normally the whole first lap is kind of like, oh, groan, I'm going so slow. So you're going to see here that very quickly I catch up and I get my timer close to max. And that's where I have to start to be a little more careful because I don't want to waste bots. So here, 76, we're not quite getting there yet. I don't think I get there on this lap, but we'll see here. So staying, you can see, I'm driving very aggressively. Oh, okay. No, I will not pass the next car. That would be a mistake. So I'm just going to stay with him. Based on experience, if I pass this guy now, by the time I cross the start-finish line, I'll still be wasting quite a bit of time. So I don't mind wasting like maybe 2 or 3 seconds. I'm not willing to waste more than that. So you can just see I'm going to stay with it. I don't want to hit him a bunch because he'll actually wiggle around and it'll waste more time. So you watch what happens when I hit that start-finish line. 54, 53, 52, 50, boom. So obviously I get 34 seconds when I cross the start-finish line. That is the other critical piece of the puzzle when you're using clock management technique. How much do you get when you cross the start-finish line, and how much do you get when you pass a bot? Of course, you always get 10 seconds when you pass a bot regardless of the track, but the amount of time you get on each track varies, and I actually have a video where I show all of that. I'll put that up here right now, because I want to have other videos at the end here. Now that bot was in the perfect wrong spot for me, but that's okay, because this is the lap where I generally have to slow down, because now I will catch up on my timer, like even here. 83 seconds, I'm not going to pass this guy yet. I would later on, but I don't need to do that right now, because I know that I'm going to be catching even more bots as this lap starts to wind down. So I'm still staying on track as much as possible. There's no reason to be taking off track cuts at this point, because It's impossible for this to be an endless endurance race. Now, maybe you're new to that. Endless endurance race means you could run the race as long as you want to. So if a race is possible as endless endurance, you have to go flat out from the start as hard as you can, take off-track cuts. You've got to pass 42 cars as fast as possible, because after that you reach an endless train of bots. If you're not familiar with this, I'll include a video at the end of this so you can see what that looks like. That's not possible in this car at this track, so it's best to use clock management technique. This first corner is one of the most important corners at this track. From that point, 25% of the race will happen. So if you get your acceleration point wrong there, let me back that up. If you get the braking point wrong, you'll get the acceleration point wrong, and that will be a lot of time lost by the time you reach the top of Kemmel. This is called Kemmel, and so if you don't have the right acceleration point, you're giving up a lot of time, because you're full throttle all the way from that first corner to where I just reached the top of Kemmel. So that's very important, and there's another section like that that we'll talk about in a little bit. So most of Spa, you really don't want to be flying off track here. Like, this next corner is called Pouan Corner. Horrible to fly off track here because it's so far before you can bounce off a wall. And there's multiple corners like that. Now, coming up here is another very important corner. 22% of the race will happen right from this corner to the last chicane. So again, you really want to maximize that corner, but you also don't want to be so careful that you're over braking or so reckless that you're sliding off track. Both of those are far too costly with 22% of the race happening. Now, 22% is based on distance, not time. So just to clarify that. And it's a horrible place for this mistake, but I don't mind making it this early, but we're just at the point, we're just getting into phase 2 now, which is start taking off-track cuts, avoid damage, and drive fast. Avoiding damage is always critical in clock management technique. So what does damage do? Damage will lower your top speed, decrease your acceleration, increase your braking distance, and decrease your grip. The effect of those things varies from car to car, but it does affect all of them all the time. So in these cars, I don't notice the loss of speed too much. There's the first big cut. I really noticed the loss of grip in these particular cars. In other cars, like the Bugatti Bolide, for instance, I've been doing a lot of videos about that one. Okay, that one I really noticed the loss of speed. So now we're going to be doing 2 cuts. So you saw me take the big cut at the top of Kemmel, and then we're going to be taking a big cut at the very end by the last chicane. Other than that, you want to keep it on track. Well, that's your indication that I was having trouble sleeping, and I decided I'd get this race in. That's my personal privacy setting so that people can't bother me with, cell phone calls or texting and stuff. I forgot about that. Thought I'd try to make the best of a bad night, and I did. I'm really proud of this race, guys. Like, this is really amazing to me. So right here, as much as possible, you want to keep this full throttle. I didn't want to do that though, so it's difficult. Off-track driving is very difficult. It's a whole, I will argue that that's a skill you should have. A lot of people say, well, that's just always cheating. Well, I can tell you there's been lots of special events where we were required to drive off track for part of the event.
Sometimes for a big part of a race.
So cars handle very differently. You have to do this with all your assists off if you really want to do well. Off-track driving hates it when you have assists on. So traction control will fight you, steering assist will fight you, brakes will fight you. So you really can't take off-track cuts if you have any assists on at all. So let's talk about my assist settings. All of them are off. I use tilt beat controls. I use sensitivity 2. Sensitivity is a personal choice. I used to run sensitivity 10, slowly lowered it over a period of time as it felt natural. The lower you have it, the more speed you can carry through the corners because you will be less twitchy. But the more you have to maneuver the phone. There is no right answer when it comes to steering sensitivity. It's a personal choice. Now, I'm already past the distance that I was personally challenged to beat. There was a challenge on my YouTube channel for me to go more than 36 kilometers at Spa. I'm going to beat that by more than 10 kilometers, but this is the critical part. This is what I really had to fight for. Look how low I am on time. Got to get this perfect. That was a perfect off-track cut. Perfection. Okay, now we're in phase 3. Back to fast on-track driving because I will not make another lap. So at this point, it's a complete waste if I take an off-track cut. Like, if there was a bot just in my sight, I would do it because that's going to get me an extra 10 seconds. But if taking the off-track cut won't gain me a decent amount of time, I won't do it because I'm just giving up earnings. Whenever your distance turns red, you aren't earning anything. So you've got to be very careful with that. So here you can see I'm back to being very careful and just wanting to keep it on track. Now there is a bot right there. I'd love to catch him. I'm not willing to sacrifice too much though to catch him. I'm not willing to go flying off track at Puan Corner just to catch this guy. So let's see if I can do this. Oh my goodness, I caught him legitimately. Wow, I did grind him a little bit to make him get on the brakes. What I mean by that is I pushed my car into his car. I'm surprised he gave me the corner. You got to do that pretty aggressively. If you do it too aggressive, you're going to wipe out. Okay, I've sped this up to 2 times regular speed because it's kind of boring to watch the car grind to a halt. Look at that incredible distance. The Fame Pace sucks. It just does. Fame Pace very good in the Invitational Series, not good in the Exhibition Series. But look at that M-Pay. It's the same as it would be in the Invitational Series. And look at this. This is super important. I could go do that a second time. Major earnings. So please like, please subscribe, check out these links, and race you later.